What's up, guys? Kyle, where you been? I'm one of 50 people at the ballpark. Yeah, Kyle, I found a defensive player error that takes the cake. Go check your DMs. I will. I will in a second. Yeah, my grandmother passed away a few days ago. Wasn't a surprise. She's had dementia for a long, or she had dementia for a long time, and had taken a pretty bad turn for the worse, like a month and a half, 2 months ago. So that's where I've been. But like again, it's like she's in a better place now, and sorry for your loss, Rip. Yeah. I mean, great person, great human being. Like she's obviously in a better place now, and she's like, not suffering anymore. So it's kind of it's a blessing. Um, Sorry for your loss. Thanks, Barks. Great to see you back. Yeah, I'm glad to be back. It's like at some point when, like, I mean, she was very old, and again, just like she wasn't really the person I remember growing up anymore, because she was in the for the last 5 years has been in like a pretty very late stage of dementia where she could barely remember my mom, let alone me and my brothers and anything. So, Cougs, what's up, man? Where you been? I was saying my grandmother on my mom's side passed away a few days ago. She had dementia for a long time, so it was kind of one of those things where, like, for years you've kind of known it was going to happen, and then like the last couple months it's been pretty obvious, like she was getting close. Cougs, you guys almost blew that midweek game. Is Texas A&M back? I think they're back, and it's like I told you guys last week. Like, to me, the thing is with a really talented team like A&M, even when they get off to a really, really bad start, as soon as they get a couple like series wins in a row under their belt, they start to feel like, all right, we're back and we're good. So sorry, brother. I just got in the chat. Yeah, you're all good, man. All good. Like I said, she's in a better place. She's not suffering anymore. So, like, it's, I feel like better knowing that she's not suffering anymore. But yeah, I think A&M's back, guys. Now, again, that doesn't mean they're gonna like kill it, but I think you're feeling a lot better now about A&M making the tournament, right? It's still a long road to go, but they're just the offense is starting to come alive, right? Because like the pitching's been really solid the whole year, the whole season. What's killed A&M is the offense has been just anemic. And it seems like the offense is starting to figure it out now. So, and if that offense plays anything close to like it was expected to, even with like the injuries they've had, it's not that like they're going to win a lot of games the remaining part of the year. Zach, I'm watching this video right now. No one out, bases loaded for Duke. Yeah, it's not looking good for Miami, guys. It's really not. Yeah, I saw that play. I actually saw that a few days ago, Zach, the one you showed me where they all run into each other. Business-like win for Georgia Tech tonight. Yeah, and Tate McKee pitched really well. He's still having. He hasn't taken that next step. Now, last week the defense kind of let him down, but he hasn't taken that next step of like it looked like through 5 innings he was going to get a real chance to go 7, right? And he's getting close to making that jump to being a starter that can go like 6 or 7 innings to start. He's getting really close, but he did well. Patel got hit a little bit, but again, we've talked about guys with like even with Dusty on here, like Patel's pitched. Let me see here. I got to make sure Dusty knows we're live. But like I said, Liam Doyle 14 Ks. How about Auburn over LSU and helps Georgia Tech's RPI? Yeah, Auburn's really good. Auburn's really good. And again, Georgia Tech right now is playing without Kyle Lodis was not in the lineup tonight. That's concerning because from what I was told, like there was a good chance he was gonna be in there this weekend. So maybe he comes in tomorrow. I don't know. But they're without Kyle Lodis and still without Kent Schmidt, right? So Georgia Tech's missing 2 of their top bats, and they're still playing this well. And they were missing him against Auburn. They lost by 1 run. Had a chance to tie that game as well, and anything could have happened. Liam Doyle 14 Ks, best pitcher in the SEC. Tennessee takes game 1. Yeah, I mean he's disgusting, right? He had a couple games in a row where it was a little, he was just struggling a little bit, but stuff wise he's nasty. That's good that A&M is turning the season around. Means they won't go after Elander to Miami. I don't know about that. We'll see. Elander and Pollard are my top 2 choices for Miami. You like Lackey at leadoff? I don't think he's there as a leadoff hitter yet. Just to be honest, I don't think he's there. But I mean, it's not like he's had a great year, so far this year. So it's not like you're hurting a lot with him not there. But Lodis is such a dynamic leadoff. You're gonna feel like but Lackey had a huge double late in the game to get some insurance runs on there. But Lackey's got he's walking right at about 10%, a little bit under 10%. He doesn't strike out, which is good. Very low strikeout percentage. And he's hitting 360. So again, it's like I think to me. That's really the only option you have with the current makeup of the lineup. Maybe you could put Curse at leadoff, like he's walking at a pretty high rate, strikes out even less than Lackey. But those are really the only 2 options in the current kind of makeup of the lineup without Lodis. Because Caleb Daniel, like he's got a leadoff hitter's mentality. He walks at a high rate. He puts up tough at bats, but he's been really good with runners on base. He's been really, he's got a lot of doubles, 2 triples, 4 home runs. Like in 100 at bats, he's got 17 extra base hits. He's basically hitting an extra base hit almost every other hit. So, maybe you're wasting that at the leadoff spot. But again, Lodis got 32 extra base hits and 51 hits, right? So. I think right now without Lodis in the lineup, I think it's either Lackey or Curse. Like those are the 2 guys that really make sense. So either one of those are fine. And Lackey brings, a little bit more speed. He's 11 of 12 stealing bases. So he's a stolen base threat. He's going to put pressure on. North Carolina looking like a national seed. Yeah, they're starting to figure it out, man. It's funny because it's funny because NC State beats Louisville tonight. North Carolina dominated Wake Forest. Again, it's like Wake. It's weird with Wake. Wake, it's like they either look amazing or they don't. It's like their potential is there for Wake, but they can't get that consistency. But again, they're still 9-7 in the ACC. They have the same record in the ACC as North Carolina, and very close to the same overall record. And North Carolina is number 16 in the country, and Wake's not ranked. It's just weird. It's weird how that's kind of worked so far, right? And Georgia Tech's 26-7 has a better overall record than UNC, and a way better record in conference, and they're number 18. So it's just weird, man, how the rankings have. And again, that's because all like the top ranked teams at the end of the year for the ACC did not play well. So it's just kind of messed up everything. Clemson dominated Stanford. Stanford, man, is like, you're talking about a tale of two teams. I mean, the first two series of the year in the ACC, Stanford looked like legit. And the stuff from their arms and everything. And then watching the series yet last week, it's just kind of defensively, they're just kind of okay. Offensively, they're just no one really, even Sasaki, who's had a fine year, he hasn't done what a lot of people are expecting him to be like a 15 plus homer guy, a freshman of the year in the ACC type player, right? Kind of what Alex Hernandez has done for Georgia Tech so far this year. And he just hadn't been close to that. Alex Hernandez hit his 10th homer of the year. I think he went 4 for 4 today. Really carried the lineup for Georgia Tech. And what I was saying about Patel is that, Patel, up until like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, I got a cold sore in my nose right here, and it's killing me. I mean, the first half of the year, I mean, he basically pitched perfectly. Like, he didn't make any bad pitches. If he did, he didn't pay for it. Like, his command is still elite. He's not walking anybody. But again, when your fastball is like 88 to 90, if you fall behind in counts and you can't throw the changeup for a strike, like you're going to give up some hits. That's just a reality. But he's still been very good. Alabama losing 13-3 to State. Do you think they are going to regress after an insane start? I don't think so, man. Again, it's like the SEC. Like this is the SEC, right? Even the best teams in the SEC. John says Clemson is going to go far. They are, man. Clemson's got that. What the it factor that Clemson has is not only are they playing really well, but they just find a way to win all their close games. They just win all of their close games, right? And that is a trait of really good teams. Really good teams find a way to win the close games. And Clemson's got that 100%. Do you think Arkansas is the best team in the country? I think they're certainly in the conversation. I mean, they dominated Georgia. Again, let's talk about Georgia for a second. Georgia has the elite offense, but they don't have their pitching is just even how well they've pitched so far. When you look at their pitching, you think this isn't going to hold. Eventually, you're going to start seeing like the leaks are going to start turning into bigger and bigger leaks, right? And that's kind of what you're seeing from Georgia right now. Again, Georgia's still doing great, but they have decent pitching at best, decent middle of the road at best. And I think they're starting to pitch a little bit worse than that. And that's what happened when you have an elite offense. Like Arkansas comes in and, if you have really good pitching, you can shut down an elite offense. So it's going to be interesting to see how Georgia finishes the rest of the way. They're still 8-4 in the SEC, or 8-5, and 30-6 overall. So Georgia's fine. I just think that, and getting back to the Alabama question, there's going to be a lot of teams in the SEC that are 16-14 and 15-15, and they're top 15 or top 20 teams at the end of the year. Because the SEC is the biggest gauntlet in college baseball right now, right? In the ACC, you have the bottom of the ACC. You have Stanford's down there now, but you have Notre Dame, Boston College, and Pitt. So those three teams are kind of like, okay, we should be able to win this series. This should be a win. In the SEC, the only series you look at where you think that is Missouri. That's it. I do think Tennessee, like I have to go with John here. Like I do think Tennessee has the best talent in the SEC, or Tennessee has the best talent. Again, talent doesn't always mean they're going to finish the best, but if you're picking one team to win it all this year, it's Tennessee, just based on their talent, right? And again, the margin between Tennessee, Arkansas, and Texas, I do think Texas is kind of playing above their talent in a pretty big way. Like most people viewed Texas as like a top 20 team at the start of the year, and they're number 2 in the country. They've lost one game in the SEC. And again, like I've told you, like you have an elite coaching staff, your team's going to play above board. And that's what you're seeing with Texas right now. I do think Tennessee overall is probably the best team in the country as far as talent. So we just have to wait and see what happens in the SEC, though. Oklahoma takes the lead over Vandy 4-2. And again, like Oklahoma's number 19 in the country, and they're 5-7 in the SEC right now. They're 5-7. Wake Forest is 9-7 in the ACC and is not ranked. Right? So the SEC, like you're going to have teams that are like right around 500 that are in the top 25. And even higher. Like Alabama's number 12, they're 7-5 in the ACC. They're 2 games above 500. And they're about to be 7-6. Right? So I don't think Alabama's going to have like a spiral near the end of the year. I think it's just going to be like, is Alabama a top team in the SEC? Like, I think they're like top of the middle of the pack of the SEC, which means they're like a top 15 team, right? But that could mean they finish the year at 16-14. Miami's about to lose. 12-3 for Miami. Yeah, just again, man, like with Miami, the thing is like the offense is just there's just not a lot of there's just not enough runs being scored by Miami's offense. It's just, and again, what ends up happening is that really hurts your pitchers, because your pitchers basically think we got to go out there and shove every day. We got to go out there and shove. I mean, you look at the roster, look at the lineup for Miami. I mean, let me read through these numbers of the starting lineup. DeGotti hitting 094, freshman. Torres hitting 188, freshman. Cuvée hitting 311. He's the only one hitting over 300 in the lineup. Tavera, and I know a lot of these guys are getting this are like first at bat of the game, and they've got like one at bats they've been subbed in. But still, you got Gonzalez, who's a senior, hitting 252. You got Smith, who's a senior, hitting 256. You got Gutierrez, who's a senior, hitting 188. So it's just like all the regulars that are still in, besides Cuvée, are hitting 250 and lower. So that's just tough. It's tough to win when your offense is scoring so little runs. And like if Hugas can't have like a game like he's pitched last couple weekends where he goes like deep in the game, shuts down an offense, it just gets really tough. Because as soon as you go to the bullpen, pretty much for every team in the league, like runs are gonna get put up. Our pitching tonight had six hit batters and 8 walks. Yeah, that's not going to do it. 14 free passes. That ain't going to do it. And you had one error. What's the difference between an elite coach and an average coach? I mean, the difference is this, and it's hard to quantify. It's almost unquantifiable, John. That's the issue with it. Sorry, 9 walks tonight and 6 hit batters. Yeah. The difference is this: what you see with elite coaches is wherever they go, their team plays better than expected, right? So Tony Vitello, last year, Tennessee's like a top 25, like I think they were like number 22nd or 23rd to start the year, and they end up winning the College World Series. This year, Texas, very similar. First year under Slosh, same thing he did at A&M, like gets there, and immediately they're a contender, immediately. And that's what you see with elite coaches is elite coaches get there and there's a big difference right away. Now at a school like Texas, you have the resources where even if like, again, it's not like they were projected to be terrible. They're projected to be a top 20 team. But all of a sudden they're number 2 in the country, right? And they're 11-1 in the SEC. And I think about to be 12-1 or are 12-1. Let me make sure. Yeah, 12-1. So that's what you see, John, is like an elite coach goes somewhere and within a year or two, it's a totally different program. I look at Fitzgerald at Kansas, right? They're 9-3, even though they got beat tonight bad by TCU, who TCU's starting to play like a big time team. But Kansas, again, no one's expecting Kansas to be in a top 25, and all of a sudden they're in the top 25. And so that's what you see, like, Johnson at LSU, Jay Johnson, right? Everywhere he's gone, the team has performed, made it to the College World Series at Arizona, won the College World Series with LSU, and every year LSU is projected to be a team that can make it to Omaha, right? So Corbin at Vanderbilt, what he did at Vanderbilt, that's the difference. Is an elite coach. There doesn't mean they're not going to have a down year every once in a while, because that happens. But generally, every year they are going to contend. Link Jarrett at FSU, great, and it's not even. It's more impressive what Link Jarrett did at Notre Dame, right? Notre Dame, Link Jarrett turned Notre Dame into like a powerhouse for the years he was there. All of a sudden, Notre Dame was one of the best teams in the ACC, and there's just, it's unfathomable to think that Notre Dame was, winning the regular season in the ACC. But that's what having an elite coach does. Like your team just plays above board. And again, in baseball, it's hard to see that, because in football, the head coach is maybe running the defense and, oh man, their defense is elite, or he's running the offense and the offense is elite. In baseball, like, they're in the dugout, but they're running the offense. They're calling the offensive plays. They know how to manage a game. They know when a guy's losing his stuff from the dugout. Wait, we got to get a guy hot now. We can't wait for him to figure it out for 3 batters, and then all of a sudden we've given up 3 runs, right? What you see with elite coaches is they are perfect almost at knowing when to start getting a guy loose, pulling a guy, making an offensive substitution when the matchup dictates it, stealing a guy. Just there's so many things that go into it. And then it's also the motivational thing. An elite coach is not only good at game management and, running the game, but he's also good at knowing, again, it's understated, knowing what to say pregame to get his guys in the right mindset. 100%. Right. And that's a big part of it. And what you see with elite coaches is like, their teams overperform. Look at Wes Johnson at Georgia. He got there last year and they weren't even projected to be a top 25 team, let alone hosting a regional. And they make it to a super regional, right? No one expected that. And Georgia this year is balling out, right? And I think if you look at their pitching, their offense is elite. But if you look at their pitching, you're like, okay, is the pitching going to be good enough? And so far, it's done plenty good enough. The question is, can it just hold that? Can it hold that for the remaining part of the year? This is a big series for Georgia Tech. Yeah, good point. Notre Dame has been awful since he left. Yeah. I mean, and listen, like that's a tough place to win, man. That's a tough place to recruit to. It's really expensive. It's in the Midwest. It's freezing for a lot of the year. It's just it's a tough place to recruit to, even with it being in the ACC, right? Those cold weather schools in the power conferences, especially in the ACC and the SEC, like it's really tough. It's way tougher to recruit there because again, like most kids want to play in warm weather. That's just how it is. But this is a big weekend for Georgia Tech because if they can get the win this weekend, they go 2 out of 3. They're at 13 wins in the ACC. They're 2 away from 15. Right. So these next 2 series coming up, I hate to say it against for Zach and Canes and everyone, but with Cal this weekend and Miami next weekend, like those are 2 series that you feel like should be wins, and you may even be able to get one sweep out of them. You may even be able to get one sweep. Cap, phenomenal player, just went on a recruiting trip to Arizona and Arizona State. He said one team staff was amazing and another's was arrogant, standoffish, and the whole experience was bad. Interesting. Yeah. I mean, that's a factor, right? Especially with those players that are being recruited by, big time schools in state, right? That's an aspect of recruiting is like, can you convince the player that you're someone they want to be around for 4 years, right? Because one thing a coach is making a decision, I was like, is this a guy I want to coach for 3 or 4 years? And again, with the portal, who knows? But you're looking at the personality of the player and determining, does this guy seem coachable? Does he seem like he's got a great personality? Is he going to be fun to be around? But the player's doing the same thing, right? The player's doing the same thing. They're thinking, man, does this coach seem like he's going to be fun to be around? Or is it, he's not saying much. I don't know. It doesn't feel good. That can have a big impact on recruiting. It's not just about, well, we're Arizona State or we're Arizona. We're a top 25 team, and both schools are top 25 caliber teams. I know Arizona State just fell out, but they'll be back in. That's what recruiting is all about. It's about convincing the player, like, I want to be around this guy. Like look at Drew Burress and James Ramsey at Georgia Tech. Like Drew Burress has said on multiple occasions, like, this is who I want to be my coach. I'm here I want to be coached by James Ramsey, who I feel like is the best hitting coach in the country. Right. And he wants to be around him. Mississippi State final 13-3. Auburn final 8-4 over LSU. And again, Auburn was 6-6 in the SEC. Now just moved to 7-6, and they're number 11 in the country, right? And it just goes to show how tough their schedule has been so far. They were 500 coming into the weekend in SEC play, and they're number 11 in the country. That's just how difficult the SEC schedule is. But a big win for Tennessee over Ole Miss on the road. Close game, 3-2. Ole Miss, number 6 in the country. Again, it's a gauntlet. But what you see with Vitello's teams is they, for the most part, like forget the A&M series, like they play really well against really good competition. As an ASU fan, I wouldn't be surprised if we were arrogant. We have better talent than Arizona, but can't beat them. Well, Cap didn't tell us which one the player felt was arrogant, so we'll have to just kind of guess. Coastal Carolina barely beats Georgia State 6-5. Georgia State came into the weekend 8-4 in the Sun Belt, playing really well. But yeah, man, Wake is really confusing because Wake has the talent to be a top 15 team, and again, I think they still should be a top 25 team right now. But they lose 11-1 in Chapel Hill. But again, they lose 11-1 to North Carolina. And to be fair to Wake, I mean they've played some pretty tough teams early. And it seems like the one thing that people have been waiting for with UNC is like that offense to get going, because the offense has been kind of quiet so far. If you look at their starting lineup today, it's 254, 287, 258, 319, 343, 293, 305, 217, 273. So the starting lineup has just not put up a whole lot of runs so far, but they do seem to be kind of peaking offensively at the right time. And their pitching staff has really kind of started to. I mean, their pitching staff's been good all year, but Jake Knapp's just been phenomenal returning from injury this year. What did Florida do this weekend? Let's see. Or what have they done so far? Wait, do they not play this weekend? Or wait? Have you guys? Did they not play until? Let's look up the schedule. Oh, they beat Missouri 11-2. I mean, again, Missouri is just. Why is this not showing up in the SEC section of D1 baseball? Hmm. So they played yesterday. Okay, so they played yesterday and they're doing a doubleheader tomorrow. Man, Missouri's struggling, man. So Miami drops to what record now in ACC play? So they are 4-9 now. So they've played 13 games. They have 17 remaining. To get to 15 wins, they got to win 11 and only lose 6. So they have room for one more series loss without being swept, and they have to win the rest. That's not a good place to be. Oh, excuse me. How about this stat, guys? Mason Patel has made 11 appearances. He's thrown 41 and a third innings. He's thrown more innings, almost more innings than Tate McKee, who started 9 games and he's thrown 45 innings. The other starters until last weekend, the other starters for Georgia Tech had thrown 28 and 2/3 and 24 and 2/3. So Patel's thrown almost double than your other starters. And in 41 innings pitched, he's walked 7 guys. That's really good. Because you think about kind of like the two-headed monster of Georgia Tech's bullpen is Mason Patel and Jalen Payton. Well, Patel's thrown 41 in the third innings. Jalen Payton's thrown 18 in a third. He's thrown less than half of the innings that Mason Patel's thrown. Oh, man. I do think A&M is back. And again, like if they sweep South Carolina tomorrow and they move to 6-9 in the SEC, All of a sudden, 15 games in, they're 3 games below 500. Getting to 15 wins or 13 wins is way easier, right? You're at 6 wins, you go 7 and 8 the rest of the way, you're at 13 wins. And A&M probably gets in at that point because they have a series win over Tennessee at number 1, right? Um, and I told you guys last week, I think the whole season hinges on how they play against South Carolina, because if you look at their schedule, they have to beat South Carolina, and they've already won the series. They have a chance to sweep tomorrow. And it's a team that is really talented, and teams that are that talented, like if they feel like they've figured it out, like they're back, all of a sudden they're just way more dangerous. Right? And doing what they did at Tennessee in Knoxville, stealing that series after just an abysmal start, right? They came in, they had 1 win in the SEC. All right, guys, that's gonna be it for me tonight. I'll be back to do another one of these probably tomorrow. Sunday, I'll be flying up for a funeral, so I won't be able to do anything Sunday or Monday. But then I'll be back Tuesday again. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully, it's a dub for the Kings.